So you were one of the leading organizers of Energize America, which put together a 20-point energy freedom plan virtually, bringing people together online through dailycodes.com. Where does the blogosphere go from here? There hasn't been too much focus on getting legislation passed in the blogosphere, considering there hasn't been much opportunity to pass good legislation with the way Washington is. We're on the verge of maybe having those opportunities. How does the blogosphere play a role in that?
Well, it looks to me, what we try to do in Energize America, the 20-point plan was laid out. What we try to do is find niche areas where we can find members or groups of members or prospective members to work with to help develop concepts, vetting them with a large public using the blogosphere as a way to get feedback. That it develops not necessarily written legislation, but policy concepts that seem to stand up to some level of scrutiny. When we're on the web with a policy concept, we can have 14-year-olds, we can have Nobel laureates, we can have laboratory technicians, we can have homemakers who are commenting in, and since most of them are anonymous, that it's the quality of the ideas and the quality of the thought that in the substance, and sometimes it's been the 14-year-old that's held the sway in the argument, and sometimes it's the Nobel laureate who's mud on their face. And so it's being able to develop, to deliver innovative concepts to members where it's not just necessarily saying it's a lobby with a specific agenda. It's been a group of concerned citizens with voice, a very open process to be able to develop legislation. If we can start this moving, it provides perhaps a path, a template for how we can do other legislative activity using the blogosphere as an alternative space to interact between legislature, the Congress, or even in state and local governments, and a larger, broader populace. Senator Dodd, in net neutrality, somewhat used a version of this in reverse as a model, where he set up a website and he said to certain industries, okay, you can comment publicly in a certain time period. And he did it in a reverse process where he said, all right, here's my bill, and you get the chance to comment, and I'll interact with those comments, but you have to do it in an open space, in an open forum. And he allowed lobbyists to do it, he allowed just the net roots to do it, he allowed, the open public was allowed to do it, and he used it in essence in a reverse model. Partially, some of his advisors had looked at Energize America. It was partially based on the concept of taking the reverse way. Creating legislation, when we get into the 500 pages and legalese, is maybe not. Some people have paths where they think they'll do that on the net roots, but I'm not sure they'll do that.
That strikes me as being one of the potential difficulties as the global warming debate moves forward. We just had the first serious, semi-serious debate of a global warming bill with Lieberman Warner this year. A lot of Americans probably don't know that debate happened because it kind of came and went. But it seemed to me that there was a potential obstacle in that once the rubber hits the road, the policy details get extremely complicated. How blogosphere has the potential to bring citizens into the process. How big a hurdle is it to bring them into the process when the policy details get so wonky inevitably?
Well, actually, a different version of the policy details getting so wonky. Energize America hasn't done this, but it is a potential path, which is in essence to use something like a Wikipedia to say, all right, here's the bill. Who's going to take those 3 pages? Who's going to take those 3 pages? And let's go through it and have a substantive discussion. And will it pick up every single detail? Maybe not, but if we have 200 or 500 concerned citizens with some overlap of what people are calling up, if there are hidden things in paragraphs, we may be more likely to catch it. If there are issues that seem to be missing, we may be more likely to catch it. It requires a collaborative effort. You're raising an issue I haven't really thought of that much, but other people do try to use Wikipedias or things like that to do a shared load of breaking down and looking at what is possible or not possible. A lot of the research that's been done on the web are things like this, where it is, okay, we've got this resource of 10,000 pages in PDF, who's going to read it? And they get 100, 200, 300 people to each take portions of the work and do a collaborative research effort.
We just came out of a panel discussion about integrating environmental messaging with other issues, so we're better coordinated. There seemed to be a level of people got very spooked by the success of this drill petition that Newt Gingrich had. Drill here, drill now, pay less. It sort of pushes that button on the left that, oh, the right can do everything so much better than us. They get these slogans. They're so much more successfully simplistic. Is that an ominous development in how we're going to be able to communicate messages going forward?
Is it an ominous development? That suggests it's something new. It's an ominous reality that we have to deal with. On the global warming, the Republican side, in essence, the Republican side, invested literally tens of millions of dollars of preparing the argument and preparing the case, which is a lie, which is not truthful, of doing something in the environment is bad for the economy. I'm going to take the moment to be on my soapbox, which it's the environment and the economy. It's not the economy versus the environment. It's the both, and we can do well in the economy by doing well in the environment. So that message is framed. Their statistics were lies. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. It's lies, damn lies, and statistics from industry about pollution and dealing with pollution challenges. The problem was the question is whether or not there'll be almost a choice in the Democratic leadership and to seek out partners, to seek out solid, firm, real messages. There are many reasons why it's problematic. There's a lot of fracturing. We all like to say that Democrats argue over details and get involved and lose sight of the message. There's a solid message machine on the right. One of the reasons Newt Gingrich's drill here, drill now, pay a little bit less maybe in 20 years petition did so well is they had hundreds of bloggers that were pumping that message within 24 hours. It was a coordinated effort.
And top down also from conservative media, right-wing talk radio, Fox News.
And it was coordinated across the thing, and there's a whole path.
Can that coordination be emulated on the left?
I think there's several things. I'm not necessarily happy with that coordination because ethically, morally. On the other hand, I think a clarity of leadership and a clarity of message and a decision to say how are we going to help. Al Gore called for 100% renewable power yesterday. In 10 years, it's an aggressive goal. There's some of the top progressive bloggers on energy issues who have come out and said, well, I'm not quite sure he can do it. Others of us, Jerome Paris, one of the top energy bloggers in the progressive community, came out and said, look, I've looked at I'm a wind financier. Let me talk about how, you know what, more or less, this is doable. Okay, I'm going to argue about some details, but more or less, it's doable. That's how my discussion is. We're Bob the Builder. Yes, we can. We can, can we fix it? Yes, we can. But it's, Al Gore has set a strong message. We have a fractured message in response to drill here, drill now. We have Democrats who are ready to say, we're losing this, let's drill. We have Speaker Pelosi and we have others, let's free the oil, let's release energy from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I think a message that Speaker Pelosi could have used, that could have been used in this is, let's free the oil and solve tomorrow's problems today. Let's do a combined message, which is direct action but solution. What do I mean that? Let's start taking money out of Strategic Petroleum Reserve, relieve a little bit pressure on supplies, lower price maybe, but take 100% of those finances to do things that will help people use less oil in the near, mid, and long term. Let's do functional actions that will have multiplicative. So we might take 200,000 barrels out of a day out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but we'd probably have savings of 500,000 barrels of lower use a year from now, and maybe 1 million in 2 years from now, and maybe 5 million 5 years from now. That 200,000 barrels a day being released for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve would look like a great investment. But it takes thinking through in sort of an aggressive, okay, they're lying. How can we be honest with a message that provides real solutions? Releasing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will help relieve gas prices, but helping relieve gas prices is not a solution in itself. It can help people today. It's sort of like Jesus said, teach someone, give someone a fish, they have dinner tonight, teach them to fish, they have fish for their life. Well, we should be figuring out how we take the resources, which would be the fish for dinner, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and use it to teach people how to fish.
Excellent. Thank you. That was